Welcome to the Chelsea Fans Channel. I'm joined by Charlie, the Hurricane Skiller from the Mail Online for this week's Backpage Blues. Charlie, the only place to start is Batshuayi. We are going to make a multi-million-pound signing.
£33 million, in fact. Everyone's been moaning at us, and every question we get on Twitter is kind of, when are we signing someone? When are we signing someone? When are we signing someone? This is pretty much over the line. He's had a medical. He's chosen Chelsea out of a whole range of clubs.
Including Tottenham,
which is always nice. In fact, Palace looked pretty nailed on, but I think...
They actually bid for him, I think. They went as far as a bid, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did, and I think it sort of sprung everyone else into action, really. But once Chelsea,
Declared interest.
There was only one winner. Yes, there you go. It's very exciting. I'm of the opinion that he won't come in and be first choice straight away, which is kind of an odd thing to say for a striker that's more than we paid for Shevchenko, for example. But I think that's just
but
modern
he's very
football.
raw, isn't he?
He's very raw.
That's the thing.
He's 22 years old.
So it's a lot of money, but effectively we're buying the potential.
That's exactly what you're buying. And we all know transfer fees these days pretty much pick a number out of the sky.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really interesting one. He's obviously he's a target man. He possibly wouldn't work in a two, which is kind of not what we've seen Conte to be about, really. So it's quite interesting from that point of view. But put it this way, the last raw, unproven striker we bought from Marseille didn't do too badly.
No, absolutely. Do you know what? I've seen him, he scored a goal, actually, for Belgium the other day.
Yeah.
Jack Davis was actually at that game in Toulouse. Yeah. What I really like about him, which I don't think you see enough, he's very two-footed.
Yeah.
And that is something that I've just really liked to see, because it makes you such a problem to defend against. You can't, as a defender, it completely cuts your options. You can't show him on the outside or whatever, because he's as lethal with that foot as he is the other.
No, it's such a cliche, but he's got very good technique for a big bloke.
Yes.
He's got strong presence in the air. Like you say, he is two-footed. He's wonderfully fast, which is kind of, I think, something Chelsea's attack lacked a little bit of last season. Looked a little bit ponderous at times. So, there'll be no messing about with him.
Great.
He'll.
You don't think it could work as a two? I imagine from what I've come to understand about Antonio Conte, he must believe that this can work as a two, because otherwise he wouldn't be risking it, because that's his system.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and we've all seen, during the Euros that the Conte adapts his players to fit the system. So all I'm going on is what we've seen so far from him. At the Mail, we've done a very extensive scouting report on him from a top scout that's watched him, over the years. So some of the slight drawbacks that he has, and obviously these can all be rectified because he is so young. Feel can be slightly greedy in terms of the way he eats up chances, and it can be a little bit inconsistent, which is to be expected at his age. And his sort of overall football intelligence could be better. But the good news is those are all things that can be worked on, and the raw pace and the raw talent is certainly there. So look, I think it's really exciting. It's great to get off the board in terms of making a signing. He's signing a 5-year deal at Chelsea.
Huge.
Assuming there are no last-minute hitches with this deal, he will be signing that deal.
Yes.
And yeah, we're off the mark.
Great news. And there's more good news, because this is a player who has always excited me. I'm of course talking about James McCarthy. James Rodriguez. This would be, now this is a sort of signing that is what I desperately want. A marquee signing, a player who lit up the world just 2 years ago. Yeah,
that's right. Well, if you remember last week, we were actually asked about him, and I said, I can't see him moving to Chelsea. That's still the case. I can't quite see it yet. But there's been quite a lot in the Spanish media about him leaving Real Madrid. Manchester City and Chelsea are the two Premier League clubs interested in him that would be willing to pay that fee. It's going to be about 65 million, which is what Real Madrid paid for him after the World Cup. But
is he not good enough to get in their team? What's the issue there? Do you know?
Frankly, at the minute, no, he's not. The system they play doesn't really have that kind of player, But I mean, look at the players he's competing against.
No, of course, it's no embarrassment not to get in their team.
He was favoured by Ancelotti and played a lot when Ancelotti was there.
If he's good enough for Ancelotti, he's good enough for me.
Since Ancelotti left, he hasn't really got a look. Had a pretty poor season, completely dropped by Benitez, whose name I know we don't speak a lot of on this channel. But Zidane hasn't really brought him into the fold since Zidane took over in January. The overwhelming favourite for his signature, though, is PSG, which I think would be kind of suited to him. They're losing Ibrahimovic. You talk about marquee signings. PSG, as a sort of brand, they need marquee signings. So that would kind of be a more natural fit for me.
Okay.
But you know,
That's a shame.
Chelsea are one of the clubs
We're sniffing around him.
mentioned in these stories.
I'd be delighted with that. Guys, let me know. I'm not on my own here, I'm pretty sure in that. But comment below, let me know. James Rodriguez, how excited would you be if he was to become a Chelsea player? Moving on again, there's some news that hasn't filled me with joy regarding Nathan Ake.
Yeah, this really kind of disappointed me big time. I sort of picked out Ake as the one player from our ridiculous number of loans around the world that I really, really want to see integrated into the squad next season. That hasn't happened. It's been confirmed this week that he's gone to Bournemouth on loan, which is
for a year.
Which is really, really surprising because, you know, he was, if you ask any Watford fan, he was, you know, talk about Deeney and Igalo, but Ake was their most consistent player last season. He played at left back there. He was far better than any Chelsea left back in the Premier League. This is just bizarre to me. I mean, it sort of sums up why there's kind of no point in these loans for Chelsea long term. I mean, in terms of generating income and whatever, then great.
Well, that's probably what's going to happen. It seems like that's what's going to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Eventually, Watford will bid 19 million and will sell him.
But it's, you know, horrifically disappointing for fans of the club because, you know, these players out there, I mean, look, we all know that some of them are not going to, you know, well, whatever his name is, Marco Marin, is not going to come back and be a star for the next season. But you know, there are certainly a handful of them that you people like Lewis Baker. I mean, Lewis Baker's gone back on loan to Vitesse. I can't work that one out either. It's clearly not a Conte decision, is it? Because Conte's never seen him play.
Yeah.
Conte's, you know, I can understand these decisions if he gets a little bit of pre-season training, you know, does a couple of friendlies, and then Conte kind of works out other options, and he goes on loan in August. That's kind of absolutely fair enough. To have them go on loan in June.
Yeah, it's
when they're not even going to be involved under the manager.
I know, it's such a shame.
And Ake, I mean, look, he's going to a poorer team, which is bizarre because he was one of Watford's best players. You know, I'm presuming Watford.
It's so frustrating. This is really going to get people talking as well. I think people are going to be so frustrated by that. It's so annoying, isn't it? Nathan Ake, he excelled at Watford. He was better than anybody in our first team in his position.
Absolutely.
And he's gone on loan again to a worse team. What's the point? It's so frustrating.
Give him Baba Rahman. He's brilliant, honest.
Well, yeah, you know, it's just it sort of leaves me flabbergasted, really. It's
I can't say anything else really. It's really, really disappointing me. And Ake and Christensen, I'd say, kind of the two I really, really wanted to see involved in the squad. And it just sums up for me. There's kind of no, if you're a fan of Chelsea, and the team rather than generating income or whatever, there's almost no point.
And even following these,
these kids.
It's really depressing, isn't it?
Really disappointing.
I think there may be some more news on Pato.
I think it's more wishful thinking from Pato. Pato and his agent, they've sort of come out fighting this week and saying that a permanent deal at Chelsea is still on.
Right.
We don't believe that to be the case. We believe, that glorious moment at Villa Park was kind of the last, not the last we saw of him, because we saw him sort of flail about the Liberty Stadium. Yeah. But, just want to, if anyone comes across these stories, at the minute, it doesn't look like we're going to see any more Pato in a Chelsea shirt. And in fact, strikers, I mean, Falcao's already gone. Obviously that's an arrangement that won't carry on. And Loic Remy will almost certainly leave for a club in Turkey as well.
Oh, really? Turkey?
Yeah, so...
I think he's a very good player, Remy. I think he can get a club. I think he's
bizarre.
just not good enough for us. But he's a good player.
I mean, to be honest, I think he should have played a lot more for Chelsea. Yeah. It's one of those, I sort of forget he's still a Chelsea player.
Yes.
Loic Remy. But, I don't think Batshuayi will be the last Chelsea striker signing this summer.
Wonderful news. Fingers crossed. I'm excited about Rodriguez. That's the one that I really, really hope comes off.
Right,
I just hope.
Better go and support PSG, mate. I'm afraid.
No, I'm gonna keep optimistic about this one because I think he's exactly the sort of player that we need.
I hope you're
very
right.
creative.
I hope you're right.
Fans would love him.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we need.
Just because his name's James, isn't it? You like
we tried it. Yeah, just a bit. It's my middle name, Rory James Jennings. Genuinely. Right, we've got some questions. We did the questions a little bit differently this week. We put a photo on our Instagram account. If you follow us on Instagram, put a question on there asking to get your questions in. So some of you have done that. So thank you very much for your questions. The first one is from David Armstrong, and it's Charlie. Why are you wearing an Italian shirt?
Why not?
Can't argue that.
No. I'd love to say this is because I saw Conte and I want to welcome him to Chelsea and all that stuff, but it's not true at all. I've had this for a couple of years. Just fancied it.
Yeah, fair enough. I am now going to pledge full support to the Italian national side. I have a
Yeah.
soft spot for
Forza
Italy anyway.
Azzurri.
Love Capri. So yeah, all the way.
I've always kind of been in love with Italian football.
So have I, absolutely,
And,
from my youth.
Well, I think for people of our generation,
Yeah.
I think
the Gazzetta dello Sport.
Yeah,
It's like if I see a story in there.
I think maybe the young generation watching football now, it's all about La Liga.
Yes.
Whereas La Liga wasn't really that big a deal.
It was
It was all about
Sunday
Juventus
mornings.
and Parma and
Sunday morning Serie A with a cup of espresso. Do you remember when I used to do a daily Chelsea?
Yeah.
I used to do it with an
It was
espresso.
a nice
That's a
homage to
homage.
that, yeah.
That's a homage to my youth.
And also, of course, for Chelsea fans in particular, so many of our iconic players from the late 90s came over from Serie A.
Yes, we've always had a link with.
We've always had a link with Italy. So yeah.
I agree. I'm definitely supporting them. Antonio Conte,
What a
holidays in
man.
Capri. What more can you ask
What
for?
a
What a
man.
wonderful place.
Bit gelato.
The next question comes in from Dominic Rice. This is again on Instagram. Charlie, what are your thoughts, very briefly? I'm going to have to ask you today on England and Euros 2016.
Do we have to?
Just give us it in 60 seconds or even less, because I've
Well, I felt very sorry for you because obviously you were out there as well.
I felt very sorry for myself.
A load of other mates from that support different teams. I thought it was an absolute disgrace. I thought the Slovakia game was a disgrace. That
resting players in a tournament. What are you resting them for? We're in the tournament.
Exactly. Yeah. Tournaments are only a month long. It's absolutely pathetic. And they were resting players for a game that was in 5 days. It hadn't even been.
And it wasn't even a fixture.
Didn't even happen.
It wasn't even a fixture.
It didn't even happen.
Yeah, the fixture
and
didn't
then,
even happen.
to go out to Iceland is just ludicrous. It is definitely the worst thing result of all time.
Yes.
The only thing comparable is when they lost to USA in 1950, in terms of a shock round the world.
Oh, that's a good game to play.
But
Northern Ireland, David Healy?
Yeah, but wasn't as much at stake, was there?
I can think of a lot of England defeats.
No,
This is a great game.
No. This is definitely the worst. This is a knockout in a finals tournament, and it's got the same population as like.
Can I ask you a question? Can I add a question to this?
Go on.
Play that game, but with Chelsea. Worst ever, like lowest ever moment.
Lowest ever moment. Well, I think some of the lowest I've been, but it's been after cup finals, and you can't really call them worst moments. Like Man United's in Moscow.
Yeah.
Tottenham at Wembley 2008.
Yes.
Like,
that was bad.
Those are games. Like,
the whole of the 2008 season was a bit like that.
Yeah, but I mean, those are games that I've never seen the highlights and never wish to.
Yes,
and
I've never seen the Lampard goal in Moscow. I missed it at the time.
No.
I don't know what
it was
I was doing. I was in the stadium, but I missed it.
It was a cracking goal.
And I've obviously never watched that game back.
No, yeah.
Right.
So, but I think that's a bit poor to call those lowest moments.
No, of course not.
Because obviously
you're in a
through
cup
to a final.
Yeah.
I mean, there was plenty to choose from this season, wasn't there?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, England just need to rip up this system. I'm so sick of the FA being like a little club.
It's just an old boys club, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a pathetic.
Yeah, people going on about, Southgate's next in line. What? What's he done? Other countries don't do this.
Yeah. We have nobody to choose from there.
All you hear from the FA is, performance directors and grassroots. No one cares. No one cares about that. Just don't get knocked out to Iceland.
Yeah.
That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Look at Conte. He's come in. And, they know that's not the most talented team, but he's worked with it. All we hear about is, the complete circus around it.
It's the FA.
And time again, they perform terribly at tournaments.
Until we rejuvenate and perhaps demolish this anarchic, antiquated, disgraceful football association.
You get a thesaurus for
Nothing
Christmas
will
or something.
happen. I genuinely stand by that. I think that the whole of the FA, from top to bottom, from the geezer who hands out the tickets, from that Burke, to right up to whoever's taken on from Greg Dyke.
We think far too much about this. I mean, the FA have made it so complicated, and they've made sure we've got the best training and all that rubbish, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything when you get knocked out to Iceland.
Couldn't agree more. We've gone off of that far too long. So our last question is from Tague, and Tague wants to know: is signing a player from Serie A bit of a risk, considering, according to Tague, it hasn't worked out very well? I disagree, Tague, I think.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, look, the Premier League is completely unique in the speed of the game and, the pressure and obviously the wages.
I suppose
as well.
Tague is referring to people like Cuadrado, Mo Salah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I understand that. I think it's going to be a struggle to adapt for anyone from a foreign league. And
you take players as individuals.
It does look like quite a few of Chelsea signing could well be from the Italian league because of Conte.
I think it depends on the quality of the player. I can't. I don't think that a wonderful Italian player or player playing in the Italian league,
Yeah.
like, I don't think Paul Pogba would have any trouble adapting. I don't think
No,
Cellini would have
if
any
you,
trouble.
if you fancy it, Paul.
Yeah, we can put that to the test if you fancy it, Paul.
Come on.
Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Charlie, it's lovely to see you again.
No worries, mate.
We're back now. Obviously, England are out, so it will all be Chelsea-based and in the studio. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, why not click the subscribe button right now. Go on, you Blues. Welcome to the Chelsea Fans Channel. It's with great delight that I can welcome my dear friend Jack Davis back onto the channel. It's been far too long. It's lovely to be reunited with you.
Yeah.
And it's great that we can be doing a video.